will call everything a scam.
Yeah.
And the top of the food chain says, there's an opportunity here. I just don't quite understand it.
Yes. Well, here's the thing though. Are poor people wrong for calling everything a scam? They're being scammed. So naturally, if I'm in a position and I am being scammed because everything around me is set up for me to fail, unless I'm educated or somebody says, hey man, you got to stop going there. You got to start going over here. When people go over here, they move differently. I came up in the fucking hood. If you look in the hood, you hear about it. There's liquor stores and check cashing places. You know why? Because they know that the people in the hood aren't smart enough to open up bank accounts. They're gonna get a check, they're gonna cash it, and it's a liquor store right next to it. So you're gonna get your check and you're gonna buy this liquor, and then you're not gonna have no more money. Let's just put that around them. Let's also put a bunch of shit that's easy and cash available. We don't want you to gain credit. We want you to be cash driven. That's how we keep the poor poor. It's not until you understand that you get out.
All right, Shalom. This is Gamali Allah, Great Millstone, Atlanta. I want to give our praises to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim pushing out this truth and sincerity. All right, this is a quick lesson, and it's going to be entitled Funeral Home, Church, Liquor Store, Checks Cash, Wing Spot. And that's pretty much, those are all places that you'll see in the hood, you know, in Jake areas, in the ghettos. All right, funeral home, liquor store, checks cash, churches, wing spots. All right, and what you just saw was Kevin Hart, and he's on a discussion panel, and basically he's going into how the poor are being scammed. All right, and so yeah, they are being scammed because look at what's around them. You know, look at what's readily available to the stores and resources that's readily available to our people. Okay? You know, Esau has systematically designed this or designed what do you call it? Minority areas, and what he calls minority areas, or lower income areas. You know, he systematically designed those so that it's very difficult to get out. It's very difficult to climb out. All right. You know, and that's why the poor feel like they're being scammed, because, you know, they're not, the schools aren't teaching them financial literacy. Okay. You know, they're not, there's nobody, you know, showing them the ropes on how to climb out of their situation. You know, the schools are dilapidated. They're missing, you know, they're missing a lot of materials. You know, they don't get the proper funding that they need. So these kids aren't getting the education that they need. So they're not able to go to a good college, which college is supposed to give you a brighter future, right? But no, their options are limited. That's the point being, is that this point being made is that in the hood, Jake's options are very limited, you know, and it's the curses. All right, it's the curses. This is Deuteronomy 28, because when you go into the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, all right, it goes into when you read 15 on down, it goes into things that would happen to the Israelites as a result of their disobedience. And we'll just get straight into it. It says Deuteronomy 28 and let me see where I want to start. One moment. Okay, we get 33. It says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed all way. So a part of these curses that was placed upon our people is you would be only oppressed and crushed all ways, you know, and all your labors basically you won't be able to benefit from. Okay, you're not gonna be able to benefit from your labors. Okay, you're only gonna benefit from, you know, you're only gonna, well, you don't benefit at all. I'm sorry, you don't benefit at all. All right, because Esau has been working against you. Matter of fact, let me get this. And there's more. You know, you could go on. You could read on down and go into all the curses that befell our people. All right, and it all relates to oppression, or being servants to our oppressors. Let me get Ezekiel. I think it's what is it again? This is Ezekiel. Yeah, Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time of that their iniquity had an end. So first of all, the Edomites, the enemies, our enemies, the so-called white man, okay, they have had a perpetual hatred, an ongoing and ancient hatred, okay, for the Israelites, all right, for our people, all right. And it says, verse 6, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare, the Lord Yahawah, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit thou hast hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right. So that's the punishment to going to Esau, okay, for spilling blood upon the Israelites. All right. But point being is that they have a perpetual hatred. All right. Let me see. I think that's Isra 12 and 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Yeah, so this devil, he imagines how to throw you into a pit. All right, he imagines how to keep you down. All right, you know, his whole thing is to basically keep you on the lower totem, the lowest rung of the totem pole. All right, he doesn't want you to climb out. All right, that's why, like for instance, like I mentioned, wing spots. There's no healthy foods in the hood, so you can't get good nutrition. Okay, foods that will make you live longer, foods that will help you think better and decalcify your pineal gland. So the foods are destroying you. And then not only that, but you have what did it say? The liquor store. The liquor store is always in the hood. So you got Jake just getting drunk as hell. If you ever been in a liquor store, you've seen how Jake be up in there. If you ever been to a liquor store in the hood, you know how Jake be up in there, man. Jake be through. Jake be spending their the old head be spending their last quarters, spending their last quarters on a fucking little shot, a little small liquor shot. All right. what I say, checks cash. Yeah, like Kevin Hart said, you know, they're not going to set up a bank account. It's not really even bank accounts in the hood, really, if I'm being for real. You know, if we being real, they don't really have no bank. I'm sorry, they don't have no banks in the hood. You know, they got checks cash because they want to keep you spending cash. They want to keep you, you know, on a low level. Matter of fact, let me get this. This is because one thing that it is one reason that is that these heathens set up these corner stores and liquor stores and checks cash. These heathens own that, so they're in on it too. They're in on it too to keep you down. Psalms 83. It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." So yeah, they took crafty counsel. These heathens are in on it too, on keeping Jake down. All right, these heathens, you know, they are, you know, they're the ones opening up these wing shops, you know, these gas stations, these corner stores, liquor stores. That ain't Jake. Jake ain't owning them spots. Checks cash. Jake ain't owning them spots. So they put them right there in the hood. They open up these businesses right there in the hood because they know that they, you know, that's their, they put those businesses right there in the hood. All right, because that's what they know is profitable for Jake. Verse 5, "For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee." All right. So yeah, all these nations, and then it lists the nations. All these nations are confederate against us, starting with Edom. All right, but their whole goal, like I said, is to keep you Israelites down. That's the whole name of the game, is to keep Israelites on a low level. You know, churches, you know, I mentioned churches. You know, churches keep Jake on a low level. You know, plantation Christianity. We ain't even got to go into that. But that's another way that Jake is kept down. All right. So all these things that are readily available to Jake are all to further their downfall. You know, so that was that, you know, giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom.